If you've been keeping up with the MCU, you know that Kang is rapidly being set up to be the new major villain for the franchise. Now, after Thanos was defeated in Avengers Endgame, we were all scratching our heads as to who's going to hold a candle to that, but it really seems like Kang is up to that challenge, and for Phase 4, which is underway, Kang's starting to reveal himself. I thought it would be interesting to take a little look at Kang, or He Who Remains, or Kang the Conqueror, and kind of theorize how he's going to play into the upcoming MCU movies, namely Eternals, because I have a theory, everybody. Jimmy or Chaos here. Welcome to the Chaos Multiverse. Do me a favor, guys. Make sure you have those notifications fully turned on and you're subscribed, and let me know what you think about Kang and his future in the MCU. So let's start off with who is Kang. Well, he first appeared in 1963 under the name Rama Tut, but then he appeared as Kang the Conqueror in 1964 in the Avengers issue number 8. He was born on the other Earth in the 31st century, and he's a time-traveling super genius, basically, with a few different versions of himself floating around the Marvel Universe in different timelines, and they're often with different names. He usually appears as a villain, but some versions of himself have been good as well, and I'm calling it right now. Kang in the MCU is eventually going to be killed by a good version of himself. You watch. I don't know when it'll happen, but that's my prediction. He has no real superpowers, but he is one of the smartest beings to ever exist, which makes him extremely dangerous. He can manipulate things, everything. He's a puppet master from behind the scenes, which is going to make him very interesting as a counterpart to Thanos. Thanos was strong enough to just use brute force his way through everything, but Kang is more of a strategist. Now, I'm not saying Thanos wasn't a strategist, because he was. He definitely was blessed with the curse of knowledge, as we know. I just feel Kang is another level, okay? But that's not to say he's useless in battle. Since Kang is a time traveler and a super genius, he has access to extremely advanced weapons and technology from way into the future that he can use to overpower enemies from the past. So he's not personally superpowered, but he might as well be. His tech is so far beyond that of his enemies, it's the same thing, basically. In some story arcs, he even had weapons that can pull the powers out of other superheroes and essentially make them helpless to him. He's no joke. And since there's multiple versions of him throughout time, he's extremely hard to defeat or outsmart. But one thing Kang does not have control over is this PlayStation 5. That's right, guys. We're giving away a PlayStation 5 every single month on the Chaos Multiverse. Be subscribed, turn on those notifications, and on any video, drop a like and tell me your favorite Marvel character and include your Twitter handle to enter. We do one every single month, so good luck to everybody. Now, Kang made his first MCU appearance in the final episode of Loki. He was under the name He Who Remains. This version of Kang is played by Jonathan Majors and claims he was originally a scientist in the 31st century whose main goal was to monitor various timelines and prevent the other versions of himself from breaking out and basically destroying their entire timeline. Fans quickly figured out that He Who Remains was supposed to be Kang, and this was later confirmed by Marvel themselves. The evil version of Kang was reportedly going to appear in Ant-Man 3, although that's a topic for another day. And I want to theorize more about the Eternals, since that's the main movie people are talking about right now, and Kang will presumably play a role in that movie as well. So if you ask me, Kang is going to be built up, basically the same way Thanos was. He'll be mentioned a few times throughout the next few movies, and then finally make a big appearance in a year or two. He'll definitely be part of Loki Season 2. Thanos was first shown at the end of Avengers in 2012. And then alluded to a couple times before finally making his first big appearance in Guardians of the Galaxy in 2014. Kang has already been introduced in 2021 and is supposed to appear as a major villain in Ant-Man, but that movie is not supposed to come out until 2023. So the next MCU movie, well, that's Shang-Chi, which is coming out right around the time I'm making this video, and then we have Eternals. Now, I doubt Kang is going to appear in Shang-Chi. I haven't watched it yet. I just don't think so. But I think his scene could definitely be Eternals. I'm positive he'll pop up somehow in that movie. So Eternals takes place after the Avengers Endgame. It's about this small group of immortal aliens created by the Celestials who have been on Earth for 7,000 years, quietly defending it from the Deviants. Or, we theorized about this too, they're protecting a celestial egg. Anyway, that's another video for another day. This movie is going to be all about how the Eternals have been working in the background for a long time to keep Earth intact. So, you know who else has been working around in the background for a long time? Kang, kind of. Like I said, Kang is a time traveler. There's a lot of different versions of him. There's Immortus, there's Rama Tut, there's Iron Lad, and the MCU writers could always branch out and create entirely new variants. My point is, the Loki show set up Kang as a multi-dimensional threat who's been lurking in the shadows this entire time, and the Eternals are a team who has also been working in the background for over 7,000 years, so I wouldn't be shocked at all if in the Eternals movie, there's a Kang variant as a villain. I mean, further establishing Kang as the main villain for the MCU. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. Jimmy, get to the point. Why did you title this video the way you did? Well, now we have our cast of characters in front of us. Let me ask you guys a question. How do you conquer entire dimensions by yourself? The answer is, you don't. You need an army. You need facilitators. The MCU doesn't have a big cast of villains right now, when you think about it. We have a whole bunch of heroes, but not a whole lot of villains. So let me run a theory by you guys. Picture this. Kang has been trying for thousands of years to conquer the multiverse. He's been stopped many times by the Eternals and himself and the TVA, and despite having such powerful technology, he's been unable to do it himself. He needs underlings like Thanos had. He needs to cover more ground, but most importantly, he needs minions who are strong enough to keep up with the people stopping them. I've said before, Kang had the technology to take people's powers away, and he's a master strategist. He's almost unbeatable in a battle of wits. So, imagine this. The Eternals movie. The main villain is a variant of Kang, or maybe Kang himself. We know the deviants are going to play a big part, but we also think there's a bigger picture. In following his defeat, he retreats or perhaps sends another variant of himself. He just keeps coming and fighting until he finds a way to get the Eternals to do his bidding, or maybe he finds a way to infiltrate their team and warp some of them from the inside out. Now, I don't know how he would do it, but by this time next year, the Eternals are in the MCU, and maybe they're no longer heroes. Maybe some of them are minions of Kang. Maybe he's mind-controlling them, or maybe he's tempted them to his side, or maybe he's just holding them hostage and forcing them to do his bidding. My point is, if Kang truly is the best strategist in the world and the biggest threat to the multiverse, he may find a way to turn some of our MCU heroes into his personal flying puppets. Yeah. Imagine how much of a twist that would be. We go to see the Eternals movie, we're watching these heroes defeat evil, and then they gradually start falling into Kang's hands throughout the next movies, and by the end of Phase 4, the Eternals are now Kang's personal bodyguards? That makes him even more powerful. I know it's far-fetched, but it's fun. I know. Kang has all the time, all the technology he could ever have, and now the future of the TVA is in question. It could be his time to infiltrate our timeline and start taking our heroes for himself. So what do you think? Am I going way too far down the rabbit hole? Probably. Is it fun to talk about and theorize? Absolutely. Or do you think I'm spot on here? Do you think this could actually happen? You let me know in the comments what you think Kang's next move is going to be, and I'll see you guys on the next video.